Welcome to Running for Real, a global community with a shared love and curiosity for running. Together we reconnect with the reasons why we love to run and discover ways it helps us become better people. Whether it's the quiet moments of a morning run while the rest of the world still sleeps, or befriending the strangers next to you at the start line of a race. We are here to connect with others who see running as the common thread that weaves our lives together. Come join me, Tina Muir, as I talk with people from all walks of life, united by a love of running. Hello, my friends. Welcome to episode 312 of the Running for Real podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I'm excited that you are here and excited for you to get to know my guest. Now, my guest today is someone I was introduced to at the Boston Marathon when I was in the Tracksmith store, actually. I just happened to be in there, got to meet him. Really enjoyed connecting with him. Put it together during this interview that I'd actually seen him at an event he had put on, the 2022 Black Unicorn Marathoners Celebrate and Connect Boston Meetup event, which I have mentioned before. It's an event I went to celebrate the Black marathoners at the Boston Marathon. The director of the BAA was there, and as was Meb. So it was a really cool event that I really enjoyed going to. And Philip, my guest today, Philip King, was actually one of the people presenting Adrienne Benton, who was the founder of the Black Unicorn Marathoners, with an award because she has now been elected to serve on the BAA Board of Governors. So today I wanted to bring Philip on the show. My friend Alex, who I trust her opinion immensely, had recommended him as someone good to talk to. And I was very interested because while Philip is very fast, he has run 1:15 in the half. He also doesn't really pay attention to his PRs. He has a very stressful job and he has 3 daughters. So there's a lot going on. And I really loved going into this conversation about how running can be a part of your life, how travel can be a part of your life, how community can be a part of your life without things having to be focused. And actually, even you can be fast without it having to be the overall reason that you are running. I really resonated with that. And we had a great conversation. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you think. So without any further ado, let's go meet Philip King. Thank you to Allbirds for sponsoring this episode of the Running for Real podcast. Now, you have heard me talking about Allbirds. You've probably heard me talk about the tree flyers, which I was really fortunate to go to the press announcement, the launch of the shoe a few months ago. But have you been testing them out? They have a bio-based Swift foam midsole that is light, bouncy, ready for distance running. I wear them multiple times every week. They are one of 2 shoes that I wear in my week. That is it. They have a breathable upper that helps keep the air flowing for extra comfortable miles. There's a heel counter and the shoe is flared with a geometric midsole, which is going to help keep you steady. Now, I am really loving this product. I am really loving the company. They are doing everything they can to call out other companies, to walk the walk themselves by speaking up about what we need to do environmentally, how we need to change things. These shoes are so comfortable. And you know what my favorite thing is? You can just slip them on and off. I don't ever untie my shoelaces. So you can go to allbirds.com to check out the women's tree flyers. But I also want to tell you today, if you are someone with kids, they have small birds. Isn't that just the best name? They have small birds for little kids and big kids. So they start in 5T, which is so cute. And they have wool loungers and they have a version of the dashers, which are just their everyday sneakers. Now, I definitely recommend the wool loungers. My daughter has both pairs of shoes. She loves both of them. But the wool loungers she can slip on herself. They basically took a shrink ray to one of their most loved styles to create this perfect pair for kids. So Bailey and I can wear the same shoes at the same time. It is so cute. They're easy to slip on and off, and they are good for the planet. They're machine washable as well, so that's another benefit. Go to allbirds.com to check out all the items they have there. You will love it. Philip, welcome to the Running for Real podcast. I am excited you are here.
Thank you very much, and I'm excited to be here as well.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. It's funny, we were just talking beforehand. You realized that you had heard or known of me before a few days ago when we started setting this up. And I had done the same thing, at a different point. You and I met at Boston in the Tracksmith store with our mutual friend Alexandria Will, and I met you, and she immediately was like, "You got to interview Philip." And I like banked that in my mind, and then it was later on researching that I realized I'd also been to an event that you helped put on that weekend. So I had seen you and watched you like doing your thing, which you did an amazing job at. And then I realized later. So it's just another example of the running world. And I know you and I want to get into this conversation about running, connecting people, about being that common thing between us all. But yeah, welcome to the show. And I would love for you to start off with sharing a little bit about you if people don't already know, what there is to know about you.
Me. I'm just a regular person, man. Like,
aren't we all?
Every day, dead, working 9 to 5.
You work like 9 to 9. Don't go you're selling yourself short here.
Yeah. I think people know that follow me on Instagram because I always do these late night runs, and they always wondering why I'm out at 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night running. It's because I get off kind of late, and I want to get off my feet for a little while because I drive for UPS, so it's not a set time you get off. It's like when you get finished. And of course, certain times of the year are a little bit busier than others, like Christmas time and July is another Christmas time because Amazon always does the Christmas in July sale or whatever. So the Amazon Prime Day.
But you have to deliver for them, even though you're UPS?
Oh yeah, we deliver quite a bit of their stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Didn't know that. Okay, so you have a busy schedule. You also have a family. You also are very fast as a runner. I mean, it's very impressive what you were able to do with this, dare I say, burning the candle at both ends. But I think even you would admit you're kind of doing that, right?
Yeah, and it'll catch up with you. But, I tend to run less miles than most people that run kind of around the times I run.
Yeah. So what are your times? Well, we're going to go on to how you aren't that fussed with PRs and how that's not that important to you. But just for context, what are your PRs, or roughly?
For a half, I ran 1:15 before. And for a full, I guess like 1:48-ish.
2:48, you mean?
2:48-ish. 2:48-ish. 10K, I don't know, around 36s, 35, 36. 5Ks, I hadn't even ran a 5K in a while, so I'd say
well, that's fair.
17,
that's
16.
Fast, though. I think everyone listening to that would say and would agree that is fast, especially with having, the kind of schedule you do. You have 3 daughters?
Yes, 3 daughters, 3 girls.
So
twin 15-year-olds and baby girl.
Which is a lot to be handling as well. So I want to begin by going into what I just said there, and what the fact that you went like 2:48.27. Like, you obviously aren't that fussed about your PR. So what does running mean to you if it isn't about the performance when you are that fast? Because it's quite rare to come across someone who isn't that bothered about it when they are as fast as you are.
It's just challenges. Like, I just either somebody else or me myself will come up with some of these goals that I want, and then at that point it's just about seeing, can I get to the goal, can I get close to it, or whatnot. Like, I remember, like I mentioned to you right before we got on, about I got a coach now, so I interviewed like 3 coaches, and all 3 of them kind of asked me what would I want to do, and I just had a simple tell, I want to go under 2:48, and they was like, nah. Looking at some of the stuff I've done, they were saying you should be able to go a lot faster than that. So you should think about running, sub 2:40, stuff like that. And I'm like, maybe, but I just want to get to the first step first.
Is that something you've always done in all areas of your life? Not a lot, because that's quite difficult. The fact that you've got coaches here saying, I think you could run a lot faster, and not letting it take you away from the moment you're in right now. Is that something you apply to other areas of your life, or specifically to running?
All areas of life, because sometimes you can get so focused on a goal that you can kind of get lost in it. Like,
absolutely.
Like a lot of people say, to be successful at something, like some of the motivation people say, you got to be obsessed with it. And it's already an easy thing to get, obsessed with running or whatever. Like sometimes I try not to post, especially on my Facebook. Like Instagram, I just post all my running stuff on there. But sometimes like Facebook posts, I kind of be like, man, I'm posting too much run stuff. Maybe I need to do something other than running, because there's more to everybody other than a runner. Like, yeah, I run.
Yeah.
I'm a runner. But I'm also a dad. I'm also a friend. I'm also a son, a brother. All those things come way before running. So like with my family, they know I run, and they probably, they tell their other friends about it. But with me, it's never like that. If anything, they're going to make fun of that Forrest Gump reference or something. So.
Yes. And I definitely resonate with you in terms of the, what are you sharing? What are you posting? Because the amount of people who say to me like, wow, you seem to be running a lot. I'm like, actually, I'm not. That's just what I share on social media. Like that's what you see, but I'm actually not running anywhere, not even for me, not even anywhere close to what I was, but not even that much at all. Like it's 1 hour of my day and that's it. And, but when people see someone like you or I who puts up things quite often, they do assume like, wow, they must be running like 3 times a day. And, because like you said, it comes across as the most important thing of your life when actually it's just a part of your life, but it's maybe the thing that people are most interested in. So I find that interesting. You shared that. You said about setting goals, and I want to go into more about, I love your attitude you just had there of people get so into goals, so obsessed with it. And I wonder if, well, you tell me, you said about, these potential coaches saying you could run so much faster. And you obviously, I would imagine deep down know, if you really committed yourself and were able to pull back on other things, you could run faster. But the sacrifices that you would make to get to that point, as someone who has done those sacrifices, I'm assuming that means it's not worth it for you to be able to really go into the well, to commit in every area of your life just to run 10 minutes faster. I mean, you tell me.
Yeah, no, that's not something I'm willing to do. I always tell people you can have as much fun as that you can afford. So for me to run a faster time, I'm knowing that's going to be me having to be more disciplined and like getting a certain amount of sleep, which that's kind of hard to do when you got kids and you got long work days. And I mean, you want to do other things, like you got friends, family, So the one thing about running to me, because I've always told people at some point I'm not going to want to do it. Especially when it gets to the point where it's not fun. And so a lot of times when you really focus in on the goal and you really hitting everything at 100, it just it becomes like a chore or a job, and it's not as fun. And that's when I stop running. That's why sometimes I'm inconsistent, because the moment I'm not having fun with it, it's no need for me to do it.
So do you, when you are at that point, do you pull back and not get out to run as much, or what does that look like for you? Or has that not happened yet?
Most of the time lately, like, of course, one thing that has kept me running is the connections with the different people. Like, I've made connection with people all over the world, basically. So a lot of times people will call me, like some of my friends that I've met through running will call me, and I, help with some of their training, or help with some ideas of how they can get faster, or, maybe this race, give advice on this race. I help them pick out a race that'll be good for a PR, things like that. So when I pull back, most of the time, that's what I'm still doing.
So you're still involved with it, just in a slightly different tangent. So then let's go into that, the connection. I mean, this was one of the key elements you talked to me when we spoke before about how important it is. You said just there that you've met people all over the world. What is it about that connection piece with other runners that you feel is so special compared to if you just went traveling to, I don't know, just check out other cities, or you went there to go see the breweries or whatever it may be?
I don't know if it's the camaraderie to where runners come across as more helpful. They're like more willing to help you because they know you run. So it's almost like a camaraderie, and it's easy to talk to people. They very much so like to help. Like a lot of people reach out, and anytime I've asked for help at doing anything, whether that's collecting shoes for a shoe drive or anything like that, I've always got plenty of help. And then, it goes the other way. Like, I guess it was 20. Yeah, 2020. It was after Boston. The last time I had Boston in the fall. So after that race, I come back home and it's a local race. It's a marathon, half marathon, 10K. And I've ran the race before. I've won the 10K before and I hadn't ran it since. So I was like, I'm going to run the 10K. I got an entry. I'll just do it. And I didn't win. Like, I really thought I was going to win, and stuff happened during the race. But long story short, I got the mile for a guy that I had been going back and forth with. I decided, because I know the course, so I decided at that point I was going to pull away from him. Did that. But then another guy came up, pulled up next to him, and he's running fast. So I'm like, okay, let's race. And ultimately, after about 800 meters, I'm thinking, man, this guy got some speed, and he don't even look like he got another gear. So at that point, I had to pull back a little bit. And I'm thinking maybe I can run him down the last mile, but it didn't happen. And I got second, and I was kind of upset about it. And I saw him after the race, and he had the trophy, and he had a friend with him, and they was taking pictures. And I just went up to him and talked to him, congratulated him, and was trying to see what event was he running the next day, the marathon out of half, and he was running the marathon. And I'm like, okay, wow. I mean, what kind of time you talking about running? And he was saying he would just want to break 3 hours. And I'm thinking this guy got to be faster than 3-hour marathoner after what I just witnessed him doing the 10K. But actually, it was his first marathon. He didn't have no experience running marathon. He didn't have the proper gear or none of that. So the next morning, I see him at the start line, and I just walk over to him, and I'm like, hey, man, after the race, I'm going to get your number. I got some shoes you can have. And he was like, okay. We exchanged numbers.
What shoes was he wearing?
I don't know. It was some shoes that you probably wouldn't even want to go walk 5 miles in. But he had on busted up shoes. He had on sweatpants and a T-shirt. And so I run the half. He running the full. Same course. We break off around mile 11. And so the race start maybe around 3. I can start seeing him behind me, like not too far behind me. And I'm trying to run the half. I'm thinking I want to run right around 120 to win the master title. So I'm thinking maybe he going out too fast. And I kind of wanted to stop to tell him that, but I was like, maybe, he'll figure it out. So after I finish, I track him to see where he at in the race. And he actually around mile 17, 18, he's winning the race. And so I'm like, wow. So he get to mile 20, and that's when he just started crashing. So he started dropping back. And so I'm like, I'm going to go back out on the course and run him in the last, little bit of mile. And I get back out there, and I'm waiting on him. He finally coming through, and he barely moving.
Yeah.
Barely moving. I go to run with him, and I ended up walking some. But anyway, he ended up finishing. And afterwards, we hooked up. We talked. I gave him the shoes. I asked him what his goals was, like, because it was his first marathon. He still ran 3 hours. He ran like a 3:01.
Wow.
So after the race, he told me, found out he's a nursing student, and he's from Kenya. And I just asked him what are some of his goals he want to do for us, like what kind of times he want to run. And he just said he want to run Boston. I'm thinking that ain't gonna be a problem, man. You ran 3:01 your first marathon on a hilly course. Long story short, we started training together, and later on, I was able to, through friends, get him an entry into Boston this past year, and he ran like 2:41 with a cold.
Wow!
And so now he's excited, which makes me excited because now he want to go, 2:30. He want to run, 2:30, and so that's the type of stuff to get me hyped, like seeing other people be excited.
I mean, I can sense that in you. I see that in you. I mean, we've mentioned about, you've shared that with us. You mentioned about collecting shoes. I know you're passionate about that and donating them. You also, we haven't even got to, we'll talk about later about you like to be a pacer. What is it about? It's not like you come to this sport. Okay, so for me, for example, I did the selfish years where I was just about me and my goals. I shouldn't keep saying I'm selfish. They were selfish. But I did the committed years where it was me and my goals. And now I'm at the point where I want to give back in any way I possibly can. But you haven't had that time where you've really, seen what your potential is. So where do you think that comes from within just wanting to give back? And even if I'm sure at times it may even take from your own performance a little bit. Yeah. Like you mentioned about in that half, you were even thinking about slowing down, even though you were in the middle of a race. What is it? Is that something from your upbringing? Is that something you've learned? Someone did that for you? Where did that giving mentality come from?
I mean, all of the above. Like, it started out when I was younger. I had a grandfather that we used to spend a lot of time with, and he would grow a garden, and we would have to do a lot of the work, like till it, plant the seeds, water. Then when it's time to harvest, pick them. And I remember when we would harvest, you would be excited because you started from nothing to dirt to seeds to now you got all these different vegetables. And then we would get in the house and he would put stuff in different sacks. And he would be like, take this over here to such and such. Take this down the street to Miss So-and-so. And so at an early age, you learn how to give back. And so that's always carried forward with me. And then, going forward, being where I was when I started running at an age where I didn't start running road races until I was 39. So you already in that mentality. And then I've had so many people help me along the way, just reach out and help me just without even me asking. And then if I ask, I'm definitely going to get the help. So it's when somebody will do it for you, it's nothing to do it for somebody else. I mean, treat people the way you want to be treated.
Absolutely. And do you feel runners are, you said earlier that you don't know if it's just about runners, but do you feel in general runners, do you tend to give more freely?
Definitely. So at least the ones that I've ran across, like no matter what part of the world I'm in, no matter the color, none of that has really been a boundary for me for us. Like when I talk to other runners or I run with other runners or whatever, discuss anything. Like this past year in Boston, we sat at a table. It was a guy that's over marathons destinations, and he saw me after a shakeout run in a Starbucks. And he called me by name, and I had never met him before. And I'm with my friends. They look at me like, how did dude know you? But they have a partnership with Black Men Run, so I guess that's how he knew me. And he invited me to come to their pasta dinner. And I went, and I mean, you can go to a pasta dinner, and I mean, it wasn't that many Black people in there. I was probably one of the few in there, and you just sit at a table, and I sat at a table with people from England. Somebody else was from like South America or somewhere. And I mean, we all sit there, ate, had conversations, shared stories. And it's just amazing how you could just connect with people from different areas of the world, different backgrounds, different cultures, and y'all can have a conversation. And it may not all be about running, but, if running kind of kicks it off.
This episode is brought to you by Running for Real. I can't even get through it without laughing. This episode is Running for Real, but I wanted to tell you about something today. I want to tell you about Mile 20 mental training program. This is a training program I had the worst timing ever and created and released end of 2019. It's a 12-week course. As you can imagine, most people's races or many people's races didn't quite make it because of the pandemic. However, many people still went through it and absolutely loved it. You can go check out, when I mention the link, you can go check out some of the reviews. We have very positive reviews, but I kind of put it aside for a few years. It didn't feel right to be pushing this program when we were, trying to survive the pandemic. So now I am excited that we are relaunching this. We're putting it on sale for 1 week only, and I want to tell you a bit about it. The goal of this program is to get you to that moment where the tears stream down your face, where you turn the corner, you see the finish line clock, or you see where you're finishing, and you cannot believe you just did what you did. Because there is nothing worse. Okay, maybe a few things that are worse, but it's a pretty horrible feeling when we have trained so hard and yet our mental side lets us down on race day. And I want to help you get over that hump and get you to the finish line with those happy tears streaming down your face. So the mental training, Mile 20 mental training course is going to help you reach that light bulb moment. It's going to give you the mental training techniques to not only become more confident as a runner, but actually as a person. And we begin with that foundations in building you up as a human being first, because we can't be confident as runners until we take care of our confidence in ourselves. You're also going to learn techniques to handle every race day situation that could be thrown at you. You're going to have specific tactics and tools that will help you handle race day panic, race day stress, things that could go wrong. You're going to learn to understand the signals that your body is giving you during the race, and you'll be told how to handle them. And also how to protect yourself from feelings of failure. Runners can be quite hard on ourselves, and this is going to help you to have a healthy perspective. So this is a 12-week course. Each week we'll have a video for you, some PDF worksheets that you can download and fill in to help really bring home those messages. And friends, for you, for 1 week only, starting on August 8th, this course is going to go on sale by $100 off. That will be $197 instead of the $297. Just for 1 week only. That will then go up to $297 for a week, and then I will shut the doors, because it's really important that we have accountability buddies, that we work together through this training course and can go through it as a community. That is really important to me. So this is only going to be open for 2 weeks. So you can go to tinamuir.com/mental training. That's TINAMUIR.com/mental training to go find out more. Add yourself to the waitlist right now, so I guarantee you will get one of those spots for that first week when we relaunch it. Go check it out, tinamuir.com/mental training. Yeah, I really remember resonating with that when I ran New York last year for the first time, but the year before I ran as a guide for, by the way, you definitely should sign up to be a guide because you would be perfect for it. But I ran as a guide in the 5K the day before for a visual. No, it was with Achilles, and I remember being at the start line of the 5K and seeing all these flags of different countries. I can't remember if they were like holding them up or if they were just around, but we were by, oh no, that was it. We were by the UN building, and there were all these countries, but there was also people from all over the world that were running. I don't know if it was the Marathon Tours group that I saw or something, but I just remember thinking, this is amazing that people come from all over the world to come be in New York at the same time to go run these races together. And you're absolutely right. It is amazing that running brings us all together, and you can hear all these stories and learn all these things about, like things that, UK and the US is pretty similar in a lot of ways, but, hearing stories about other people and where they've come from and how running is in their country is just very different. So it just changes your perspective. And I know travel for you is a big thing. So yeah, tell us a bit about what it is you like with traveling and running.
I guess to see different places. I've always been a person like, I can remember younger watching TV or watching movies or whatever. You see some of these places and you want to go there. So as you get older and you running and you got a chance to go to some of these places, why not?
Mm-hmm. And what's been your favorite place you've gone to?
Okay, like my favorite place I've been to is definitely Africa. Like I did the Victoria Falls Marathon in Zimbabwe, and it also crosses into Zambia and comes back into Zimbabwe. But that's probably my favorite place. My favorite city is probably New York, followed closely behind with Tokyo.
Oh, interesting. Tokyo close behind. I was not expecting you to say that.
I don't
Huh.
know if it was because that was the first place I've been to where a lot of people didn't even speak English. Because you can go to a
Okay.
lot of these places and they still speak
Oh,
English.
yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
people in Tokyo, especially the younger people, they speak English. But to go to a country where I can go in a store and look at stuff and I can't even read it because it's all written in Japanese, I think that was kind of cool. But just
Yeah.
the mere size, the amount of people, and the organization that city has to make everything run, it was just cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And New York is not really surprising. I think that answer is the case for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I should mention at this point. So you mentioned Tokyo. That's going to make people immediately jump to, oh, he must be doing the majors. And you have been to Tokyo, but which major marathon do you have left?
Tokyo.
Why is that?
Well, first I was supposed to run it in 2019, but I decided to
Mm.
try my luck in the lottery, and I don't know why I done that, but I didn't get in. So the following year I did the charity route, and I got in, but then that's when COVID kind of shut down everything,
Mm-hmm.
and so now it's been kind of a wait and see.
Now it's an unfinished business, and you'll get there as soon as you can. Although, if they're going to add more, then you'll have to go back to Africa, to South Africa, right?
I don't know. I don't know. I seen somebody post something about Australia. It's got their
Ah,
application and maybe by
okay.
2025, but I don't really like running marathons.
What?
It's not my favorite. Like my favorite is 10K half marathon.
Okay. Okay.
That's enough time to run fast. It's enough of a challenge. But the marathon is it's all the way
Mm,
different. Now it's the challenge that keeps me coming back for them because
mm-hmm.
the training had to be right. The nutrition had to be right. I mean, it's just so much go into the marathon to have that where you feel like you
Yeah,
had that magic moment. And I just hadn't got there in the marathon.
that's fair enough. That's tricky in itself. I'd love to know what has running taught you about life in general and who you want to be, especially having three daughters coming into the, well, I shouldn't say coming into the world, they're fully in the world, but coming into adulthood. What has running taught you?
Uh, Basically just keep moving, keep going.
Mm, mm,
Like it's gonna be hard spots. Like I can remember times doing workouts and you get to the fifth set and you got 8 sets to go and you feeling like I don't know how I'm gonna get through this set, yet alone,
mm,
3 more after that. But
mhm.
you get to 6, 7, 8 and they actually was better than 5. So you might be a point in your life like I've been in points in my life where most people would have probably given up. People even ask me, man, how did you do it? I'm just like, I mean, you pray and you keep moving.
You mean in terms of just all you have to fit in with
Just
life?
no, just the ups and downs of life. It's like the
Hmm.
trials and tribulations. Like my brother, he lost his wife here recently,
Yep.
and that was a big blow to not only him but our entire family. And I can just remember, I can't tell him how to feel. Like I didn't even know how to react. But the only advice I gave him was, "Hey man, get up every day, just keep moving, and lean on the word, and just keep moving." And
Mm.
I would check on him, and I even told him, man, maybe you need to get out and do a little running, walking, just movement.
Hmm.
And he actually done that. He was actually doing that, and he would get
Oh,
out, get in.
really?
He would walk a few miles or jog a few miles, and then he would bike some. But
Huh.
for Father's Day, he said his kids bought him a Fitbit. So now he really kind of getting into it. So now he calling me talking about he thinking about doing a 5K in the fall, and just in honor of his wife or whatever.
Mhm. So on that note, you said to me when we talked before that this year 2022 started off really well. Things looked really promising. You obviously just mentioned there the passing of your sister-in-law hit you really hard. We've already mentioned you have work, training, family. Hard to fit that all in. And then you had an additional setback before Boston, if you're comfortable sharing that.
Yeah, yeah. So 2022 started off pretty good. Like I finished the year out with Boston and London, even though the times didn't go the way I wanted. My fitness was good because I ran back to back under 3 hours in like 6 days apart, 7 days apart, those two
Wow.
races. So I knew the fitness was there. So I started the year off just build on that and maybe do a half marathon going into training for Boston. So I went to Houston. I ran pretty fast. I hit a goal. I wanted to win my age group. So I was able to go to the Houston Chevron, win my age group, and I still felt like I could have ran faster. So the fitness is there, training, and in February, that's when my sister-in-law got sick, and then by March, that's when you kind of know it was getting serious, and so at that point, I could tell, my brother really needed help, and so me and some of my other family members would try to step in and help. But, that's extra stress. And then you train and that's extra stress. So maybe like the end of March, I started having like chest pain. And I would talk to him about it. And it even got to the point where he was like, I was wanting to come to the hospital to relieve him. And he was telling me that he wasn't going to let me come until I go get myself checked out. Yeah. So I was like, cool. I had the day off work. I said, I'm going to go get myself checked out. And that way I can get over there to the hospital. And I was going to go to a little urgent care clinic or whatever, but right before that I had like a sharper pain in my chest. So I decided to go to the ER instead. And when I got there, that's when they was, doing blood work and different stuff. And they was saying they believe I had a mild heart attack. The good part though was, they did all the tests and it wasn't no major blockages, nothing like that. So hopefully, I went back for one checkup. I got another one to go to. They did release me to go back to running, but that's a pretty big scare to have.
Yeah, well, as a runner. And talk us through that, because I'd imagine as runners, I definitely am guilty of this myself. We kind of assume, unless someone has, a heart defect that they come across later in life, for the most part, we kind of assume we're safe in that area. My heart beats all the time while I'm running. It's nice and healthy and strong. That's not going to happen to me. How did that hit you mentally, already being raw from what was going on with your sister-in-law? Like, walk us through how that hit you.
It really, for me, it really showed me I'm not Superman. Like you can't do everything. You gotta, like you said earlier, while burning the candle at both ends. It let me know that at this age, I can't just go without taking care of the body, proper nutrition, proper rest, and because go, stress. It don't matter how many miles you run, you can still, check out of here. It could be here one day and gone the next.
So how do you keep yourself reminded of that and keep that element of taking care of yourself when, it's easy to intend on that in the moment, but then once you get back to normal, you think, oh, I'm fine. How do you keep yourself from getting in that situation again?
You gotta have people around you that helps out. Like I have people that'll call me and really get on me if I ain't doing what I'm supposed to do, or making sure I'm not doing too much, or make sure I'm doing this or doing that. So I mean that, and then just knowing the fact and seeing the fact that what it would mean if you're not here, how it would affect your family.
Yes. Well, you got to see that up close, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That had to be quite scary. I want to begin talking about you. You mentioned earlier about running with Black Men Run, and you have been, another thing you managed to do to give back to the community is you are on the Black Unicorn Marathoners Committee, and I got to see you present Adrienne Benton with an award as she was elected to serve on the BAA Board of Governors. Board of Governors? Is that the word? Yeah. I was going to say, did I write that down right? And this was obviously the 50th year of running the Boston Marathon. So that was what inspired the theme that year of Empower and Celebrate. And I attended that event thanks to Alex inviting me, and I got to see you present that award and just be there. And it was a really, that was one of my favorite things I did that weekend. I really, really enjoyed that, even though I went by myself, was sitting in the crowd on my own. But I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about that and just, why give back in that way, and what is the importance of, the Black Unicorn Marathoners, the work you do with Black Men Run. I'd love to hear a little bit about those things.
Okay. I'm gonna start with Black Men Run.
Yeah.
When I first started running, I had a friend, and this is one of the people that I saw had posted where they would do little road races. But she invited me. She offered to invite me down to where they had the local Black Men Run group would meet up, and she took me there, and those guys took me in, welcomed me in. They ran with me. They encouraged me. Actually, they were some of the first guys that was like, man, you could Boston qualify. This before I ever even thought about running a marathon. And so they've always been supportive. And then over the years, I was able to meet the founders of Black Men Run and establish a good relationship with them. And through the years, like if I need something, they help me out, like through our different partnerships or whatever. And then I can remember, I think it was 2020. Yeah, it was in 2020 on our national page, because I've always wore Black Men Run stuff because I just like the concept of representing, Black men running. That's something you really don't see much of.
Yep.
And so I kind of take a little pride in that to where I don't want to just go and do the race and be there. Because it could be, 10,000, 20,000 runners. You could get mixed up in that. I want to be one of the ones in the front. I want to be one of the ones that get called to the podium. And that way, other people for sure see you if you get to the podium. You can't deny that. So I kind of came up with this concept. We should have a BMR to the podium team. And that's for the guys that still want to be competitive, whether that's in your own age group or, if you want to compete for the overall. So a lot of guys picked up on that, and now we got more guys qualifying for Boston, for one. And that's a good thing, because when you go to Boston, as exciting as Boston is, you don't see a lot of people that look like you if you're a Black male. So that's one thing, I'm always going to be proud of.
So then explain to us what that is. Is that just kind of an initiative, an effort to really try and, push some of the Black men out there that are running to really see what they're capable of?
Exactly. Like it was just to try to, not just to show up and let's do let's just show up and run. I mean, really try to get the most out of your run, because whether you realize it or not, people see you.
Sure.
You can be inspiring somebody, some kid. Like one of the things that really stood out early on when I was running with my Black Men Run stuff on and stuff, I would go to races, and the water stations are always staffed by volunteers, right? And some of the volunteer groups would be like a basketball team or a cheerleading squad. And you go to that table and everybody getting their water, but it'd be a couple Black kids at the table. Now, they've been at this table all day, and they don't see nobody run by that table that look like them. And then when they see you come by, somebody that look like them, their eyes light up, and they trying their best to rush you to, here, take my cup of water. Like, they really want you to take your cup of water, and they cheering for you. So it meant something to them. So just to know that when people see you and they can identify with you, that it might inspire them to do different things in life, or take their health more serious, or, study harder for a test. Just believe that they can do, whatever obstacles they're trying to overcome or whatever. It's just give them motivation.
Thank you to Athletic Greens for sponsoring this episode of the Running for Real podcast. I have been taking Athletic Greens for 4 years now. Almost every single day of those 4 years, I have woken up, gone straight to the fridge, poured myself a nice cold glass, ice cold water, and put a scoop of AG, shaked it up, and gone about my day. It's my nutritional insurance policy, and I am not alone. There are a lot of people out there like Tim Ferriss, like Lewis Hamilton, like Michael Gervais, like Kirsten Bell, Patrick Frost, Angela Nath. There's so many names out there of people who love this product as much as I do. And it's going to give you 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food source ingredients to start off your day. It is going to give you probiotics, prebiotics, a multivitamin, minerals, adaptogens, more designed to support your gut health, support recovery, boost your energy, and more. It is time we stop taking 15 different things for 15 different purposes, and instead you can have all the things in one thing, except there's two things missing from AG1, and that is vitamin D3 and K2. But you, my friend, when you sign up at athleticgreens.com/Tina, that's athleticgreens.com/Tina, you will get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2, which is especially important in this time that we are living in. It is a vital supplement for us to be taking to help us protect us against sickness. And Athletic Greens that's such an easy way to take it. I just put a few drops into my AG1 and then off I go on my way. 1 scoop once a day, every day. It's that simple. Go to athleticgreens.com/Tina. For sure. No, that's something we've covered a lot on this podcast. I mean, recently I remember Joe Robinson and Lance Woods of We Run 313. They were talking about, being in Detroit and that concept and how, that wasn't something that in the two sides of town that they lived in, that wasn't something they saw. But knowing that they were out there now training and, young kids could be out and see them running by, just gives them a different, different
I got
path.
a chance to meet Lance at the start line, him and Tommy, and then the other guy, Benjamin. We took a picture at the start line together, and I was like, man, we need more representation like this. Like we need next year we come back. Hopefully, it's more of us.
Yes, yeah. No, I'm here to support you in any way that I can with you guys. You're all doing amazing work, I love hearing that. Now, let's talk about the Black Unicorn Marathoners. You don't have to talk specifically about this event, but what is that? I guess what is that for someone who doesn't know what it was? The Celebrate and Connect Boston Meetup event.
Okay, well, you mentioned earlier Adrian, and so before Adrian was on the BAA Board of Governors, she was already putting on events, whether for the Black Boston marathoners that would come to town. It started out as just, hey, somewhere to meet up, somebody to give information or whatever. And so I can remember my first Boston, they was telling me, hey, when you get there, don't worry about this. Adrian's a person you could point you in the right direction. So she had always been doing that. And I remember last year, 2020, when I went there, she was one of the first persons I saw. She invited me to the shakeout run the morning before that. And that's when I met Alex, and, she was taking care of me then. So the following year, she wanted to kind of change it up a little bit. And I was like, that'll be cool. I mean, 'cause she all about celebrating the runners. Like
Alex is?
Adrian.
Yep.
And I remember telling Adrian, I'm like, Adrian, you remind me of my grandfather so much. Just give. And she do all this out of her own budget. Like, she giving out of everything she put on is just her. And she's not looking for nothing in return. She probably going to be mad that I'm talking. And then I'm telling people this now. But anyway.
Well, there's a plan for her to be on here so she can tell her version of the events at some point.
Yeah, you definitely should have her on. But,
I want to.
So it's kind of hard to say no to somebody that does so much. So they asked me to be on the committee. Yes.
Yeah.
And like I say, the thing is to just try to diversify it a little bit more. Like I meant to get hold to her because I was really curious with Boston how many actual Black marathoners that we have running in Boston. And I was telling Alex, I'm thinking it's less than 250.
Wow.
And to think
How many did you have you had 100 and something at the event?
So, well, we had 100 and something people there, but I mean,
like that's a good chunk of that's pretty impressive turnout if there was only estimated 250 people and you got half of them to the event to celebrate. I mean, that's a pretty cool turnout rate. But yeah, sorry, you were saying about the number. That's obviously very low.
Yeah, that's low when you thinking of more than 20,000 runners, and then you got 20,000 runners run by, and you see 250 of one race.
Yeah, so, got to change.
So the representation will change there. We hoping that the event, we hoping to get people to come and be on like a cheer squad, to be able to be in Boston around that town, the excitement that's in Boston. I tell people, Boston wasn't never the goal. Like New York was the goal for me to qualify for New York. And in doing that, I qualified for Boston. But out of all the world majors I've been to, Boston is the best. When you look at it overall, like you can't, nowhere can match that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's places like New York, London, they got crowd support, they cheer, they can match at that level. But the excitement from the day you get in Boston on a Thursday or a Friday, all the way through Monday, it's almost like the Super Bowl. And Boston take over the whole city.
Yeah, that is definitely a thing that is visible and noticeable from being there. Is there anyone else you want to give a shout out to, or anything else you think we should cover in this episode about your journey, your story? I'd love to hear if there's anything else that you would like to share with the audience.
I mean, anybody that's ever come in contact with me has inspired me in some way, but some of the bigger goals, I mean, they might not know it, but my babies, they the one kind of push me a little bit farther every time. Like when I first started running, they was cool with just when I come home with a medal, they would put it on, walk around the house in it, go outside, play with their friends with it on. Then it got to the point where they was like, I come home and they be like, oh, let me guess, you won your age group. But Daddy, when you gonna win the whole race? So that's where I got to make a push and train a little harder to try to win overall to impress them.
Yeah. My 4-year-old the other day had my New York medal on, and she said, "Mummy, did you win this race?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Why not?" And I was like, well, I'm not good enough, basically. But no, I didn't say that. But like, I was like, if only you knew what that actually meant, like that specific one of all of them. Like you picked up the New York one and asked me why I didn't win it. So, yeah, I hear that. But well, then share a little bit about that, how your daughters are kind of the ones that set goals for you, because you're not, obviously, you mentioned at the beginning, you're not big into, goals driving you forward, but your daughters help nudge you along the way.
Yeah, they kind of put seeds in your head. Like I can remember being at the track, and this one I was training for the Boston that got canceled or whatever. And baby girl, I guess she didn't want to be at the track that day. She was like, I don't know why we out here at the track. Daddy he gonna go and win something. And then the other girl was like, girl, you crazy. It's Boston. It's gonna be over 20,000 runners there. And then I'm just listening. I ain't saying nothing because I'm kind of like, dang, y'all putting, like, y'all ain't give me no credit. But then baby girl was like, so I bet you he still plays top 10 in his age group. And I was thinking, why? So then I kind of looked into it, and when I looked at the time, it's very much possible. So that's a goal. So that's a reason. If health wise everything go well, I'll go back to Boston, give it a crack.
Okay, well, we'll be excited to see that there. One other question I want to ask you: a UPS driver, I constantly, my heart goes to any delivery drivers just because of the strain. I'm assuming you, but what I see people are put under, the kind of, I see people constantly, like my neighbors get packages on a daily basis, and I see people, them, launching out of the trucks, like going to the thing, running back. Like it seems like, like very stressful. And so is there anything you'd like to remind the listeners while you have people's ear? Obviously, not be assholes and be kind to people, but anything you want to let people know about just delivery drivers, just in general?
Something serious like for this year. Oh, well, the last couple of summers, with global warming getting hotter, and so with UPS, there's no air conditioning on them trucks, and a lot of times during the day you can get through it during your first part of your day because you in and out of businesses, so you going in AC, cooling a little bit, then you come back out. But when you get to the residential part, it's just all heat. So what a lot of my customers do, and some customers do, they put like drinks out on the porch in an ice chest or whatever. So, and sometimes people do that around the holidays, but we really don't need it around there, but in the heat, you could actually save somebody's life by having a cooler on your porch with some water, something very inexpensive.
That's good to know. Okay. All right.
And that's for all the delivery drivers out there right now.
Yeah, sure. No, I mean, it definitely seems like everyone is working hard, rushed, and I could imagine a nice cold drink would help. I always ask the mail person who delivers, but they always say no. I'm always like, do you want a cold drink? They're like, nope. So, but I guess for them, they're going into their air-conditioned fan every now and again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did not know that about the air conditioning. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and most of these guys do a half marathon during the course of the day.
Really?
Yeah, I like to keep up with my steps at work, and then I get home and convert it over to mileage, and it'd be anywhere from 10 to 13 miles.
How many steps is that typically on a shift?
I think yesterday I had like 24,000 steps. Wow. It's crazy because some of the challenges on like Garmin, the run challenges, how many miles you run in a month, a lot of them I don't do very well in, but then I can be in the step challenge with some of the same people that's running like 100-mile weeks. They're running 100-mile weeks, and my steps are more than what they get in a run of a day.
Sure. Yeah, I would imagine that is the case. Well, more reason for you to take it easy, and I'm going to let you hopefully go relax a bit now. Oh, no, you said you got to go run. After your run, I hope you're going to go relax. Thank you so much for joining me. Is there any way you want to send people so they can go follow along with you in future?
Just Facebook and Instagram. On my Facebook page is Philip King, and then the Instagram is Peking Duck 76.
Is that supposed to be a referral to like Peking duck of a Chinese food?
Yeah, it's a food. It's a old high school nickname that a coach gave me. Okay. So when I was trying to do my Instagram, I couldn't get nothing to stick, so I just put that in there and it stuck. So I was like, okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I will put links in the show notes to that. Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep on inspiring. I appreciate you, and look forward to seeing you at some events in the future.
Same here. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I'm sure this year I'll roll across again.
Hi, friends. Just a quick message to say a big thank you to the Running for Real team. While I may be the face of Running for Real and the voice behind the podcast, there are a group of people who are working tirelessly to provide everything that runners could need within our community to make our community stronger, better, and evolve and grow and learn from one another. We are working really hard to make Running for Real the place we believe it can be within our community. I just want to take a moment to thank everyone on our team. That is Victoria, Stacy, Sandy, Sally, Maria, Kelsey, Kat, Jeremy, and Erica. I appreciate each and every one of you and the hard work that you put in. Now let's get back to the show. Thank you to Philip for joining me today. Really enjoyed that conversation, and I hope it gave you some things to think about, because that really is something important. You can be fast, you can try your hardest, you can have goals, but you don't have to be attached to them. You don't have to make it everything. I really enjoyed that conversation, and I hope you did too. You can go follow along with Philip and his journey by going to runningforreal.com/episode 312. You can also check out our sponsors there by going to the show notes at runningforreal.com/episode 312. And on that note, I want to take a moment to thank Allbirds for partnering with us. You can go to allbirds.com to go check out those tree flyers I mentioned earlier, and maybe get your kids a pair of wall loungers because they are adorable and can be machine washed, so they're nice and easy to clean. And I also mentioned to you about our mental training program, which is now in. You've got 2 days left to get that $100 off, that $197 price. Then the price is going to go up, and in 1 week, the doors will close. The doors will close until the end of the year. This is the time to grab it. I am so proud of this 12-week course. It is going to give you all the techniques, all the tricks, all the tips to get you ready for your next race, feeling confident, feeling ready to go, and give you a community to be part of to do it. It really is something special. I will be popping in various points to come and check in with you. So go to tinamuir.com/mental training to go check out that. And thank you to Athletic Greens for sponsoring this episode. You can go to athleticgreens.com/Tina to go get yourself that 1 year free supply of vitamin D3, K2, and also to get yourself 5 free travel packs. Go to athleticgreens.com/Tina, or you can just go to runningforreal.com/episode 312. Thank you so much, my friends, for listening today. I will see you on Monday for a Together Run, on Wednesday for a weekly Stride episode, and next Friday for a regular episode. I'll see you then.